Ben, if the axe does fall on Russia's commodity exports, and it's a major exporter and a major revenue earner, to what degree could that create potential supply disruptions to the downstream industries?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of disruption. Certainly, sanctions would be part of that disruption, but not the whole picture. I think the supply chain would be severely disrupted for a wide variety of reasons. Sanctions will not help that. Companies will suddenly need to screen all these new parties that could be sanctioned on lists, whether that's government entities, government officials, or state-owned enterprises or private enterprises, depending on the scope of the sanctions. But I think that, like everyone else, they're seeing they're expecting disruptions in the energy sector.
Business has always been innovative, hasn't it? And it's always found a backdoor despite restrictions, despite sanctions. We saw that during the Iran sanctions, with Emirates and other Gulf countries being the conduits to get goods shipped in to Iran and oil out, despite the sanctions. So legally and even non-legally, what recourse do companies have? Do you think you will see the rise of shell companies as a way of circumnavigating these sanctions?
That will always be the case, especially when you have such a major company like Russia. Sanctions are a tool to impose United States national security interests, but it works a lot better when you're dealing with smaller countries that can be more isolated from the global system. Russia, of course, is much larger, and their recent communique with China, I think that explicitly included energy sales, will make it harder to isolate Russia and for the sanctions to have enough teeth to change Russia's behavior. For companies, some companies will find ways to do business legally, and I think right now companies should start to assess their risk around Russia. So looking at what liabilities they have in Russia that may be frozen in the result of sanctions against their lender parties, et cetera. They should start to look at if they're exporting U.S. goods to Russia, and they should start to audit their risk overall for politically exposed persons and other potential sanctions targets.